good, everybody? It's when I come back at y'all with another video. So this video, I'm actually excited to do this one. I'm excited to do all my videos, but this one in particular because this one is inspired by recent clips that I've seen and also like ideas that I've had just now, prior to pressing the record button. And the video is this. The title is this: Never compromise yourself for the sake of achievement. Now, what initially sparked the idea was how, I seen a clip of a famous actor basically stating how he's seen so many people in the industry, like, people in Hollywood, things like that, how they would often compromise themselves, their morals, their values, their integrities, if it means skipping the line, right? If it means making your way to the limelight, making your way to the fame, to the money, all these things. And he highlighted how the people now, because of course they did that back then, and those same people that did that back then are now facing the consequence, right? That it's hard for them to look in the mirror and be proud of themselves because they compromised who they were as a person in order to achieve the fame, the success, right? The wealth, all these factors. But how good is all those achievements really if you had to give up yourself along the way? Now, I've never been in the Hollywood space. I don't know anyone in the Hollywood space, right? Not an actor, not any of that. Just going off of what I've been told. But obviously, as a bystander, right, you see it's not uncommon for there to be a celebrity that sort of ends up being a loose cannon, or for, what the current people like to say, crash out, right? That they end up crashing out because they're experiencing an internal discord within them, that they got all these great things, but now they aren't happy of who they are, who they become as a person. I'm here to tell you, right, you never want to compromise yourself for the sake of achievement, right? You don't ever want to compromise your morals, your integrity, who you are as a person, to try to get something, because whatever it is that you're after is not worth more or more valuable than who you are internally, because you were guaranteed giving yourself for the rest of your life, right? So you need to learn to love yourself and appreciate yourself. And if you're willing to sacrifice that of yourself, chasing all of these external components, you'll effectively lose yourself. And then what good is it when you no longer have yourself, right? You can have everything in the material world, but what good is it when you no longer have yourself, right? Because people say all the time, oh, well, if I had money, I would never be unhappy, because you hear all the time that people that have money eventually say money can't buy happiness. And then the people that have never experienced wealth will say, yeah, well, money can buy you happiness, right? Because money can buy you a vacation, money can buy you food, this and that. But if let's just say you don't have a relationship with your loved ones anymore, right? Like, say they just don't want anything to do with you anymore. You can go on that vacation and have fun at the beach and relax at the beach, and you'll feel better about yourself temporarily. But then after a day, 2 days, 3 days goes by and nothing changes, right? What good is that doing for you, right? You can treat yourself to a nice meal, right? And keep eating in all these nice places. But if what matters to you most is being surrounded by the people who truly care about you, who you are, and not just about what you can offer, what good is all of that wealth, right? You'll feel empty. There'll be a void within you, right? So that is what it means. It means that all these things that we're after is not worth more than our own happiness and who we are as a person, right? So that is part one of this video. Now, the second part of this video of never compromising yourself for the sake of achievement, the other part of this also goes with people in the workplace, because I understand how, like, the corporate world, operates, right? And oftentimes the corporate world, essentially, they want you to not only do what it is that you're being asked and excel in that role, but they're also expecting of you to go above and beyond at all times. And I understand when you're trying to work your way up for a career path, right? Of course, you want to do a good job, you want to stand out, you want to excel, right? And you want to show your supervisors, the higher ups, that you deserve to be promoted, that you deserve to, you know, receive that recognition. But what you need to understand is oftentimes working harder doesn't push you forward, right? Now, I'm not saying to just do nothing, right? What I'm saying is that, like, I've seen it from like firsthand experience of working with people. How I had this one coworker who, of course, we were coworkers, so we were like doing the same role. But after we finished our job for the day, he would often take his laptop home to continue working after hours at home, and even on weekends, or like people would go travel on vacation, even though they took time off and they're supposed to be on vacation with themselves and their friends or their family. They'll take their work laptop with them, even though that's not expected of them. They'll still do it to answer emails, to handle all these things. And it's like, you also need a break. You also need to step away and have fun to live your life. Because remember, you work to bring in an income so that you can live your life. You don't live your life to work. And the reason why you don't do that is because there will always be more work. And if anything were to happen with you in that position, say you were to get terminated, whatever, they would eventually hire someone else. Like, there's always enough work to go around, but there's not always enough life to go around, right? You can go into an office and there will be people there who are uninterested, who are just doing what they have to do, who are going through the motion. But you won't always see someone smiling. You won't always see someone ecstatic to be there. You won't, right? Like, trust me, there will always be work. There will always be something that needs to get done. There will always be a new deadline to get hit. And oftentimes, even if you miss out on a deadline, nothing happens, right? Like, of course, some deadlines are important, right? But there's other deadlines where, like, literally nothing happens, that everything will still be fine, that you will still be employed, that you will still be alive, right? You'll wake up tomorrow, you'll still breathe, everything will be okay, right? So this is also applicable to, like, the corporate side, the real world, because I want you to do a good job. I want you to do an exceptional job, but I want you to understand that there is also life to live, right? Like, if unless you're doing life-saving work, like if you're a doctor, right, and society needs you, then by all means, if you feel the need to continue working, right, by all means. But don't feel as though you have to exhaust yourself and burn yourself out, and then the time that you do get that's free, that you have to bring your computer or like work remotely, answer emails, and always remain on call. Like, I've had colleagues who, they'll tell me, hey, I'm going off for vacation. It'll be like colleagues, like a manager, a boss, whatever. They'll tell me they go on vacation. They'll say, hey, if you need anything, let me know. And I'll tell them, like, go enjoy your vacation. Like, it doesn't, like, I'm not going to contact you because that is your time off, right? And you need to feel that way about yourself. You need to also want that for yourself too. You need to be able to set boundaries, because it's usually not the hardest worker that gets ahead. Sometimes it's the person who has the best relationships with the higher ups, right? Someone who has a great personality, someone who's likable, right? Someone who's a people person, because usually the higher up you go, you're going to be working with other people. You want to be able to establish great relationships, things like that, et cetera, et cetera. So I see it happen all the time in so many areas of life where people will break their back believing that hard work is what's going to push you further in life, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, if you're someone who always works hard, busts your behind, then people are going to look at you like a workhorse. People are going to say, oh, well, I can just give the extra work to this person because I know they're going to do it. And even though they're not being compensated extra for doing more work, we'll still give it to them because they're going to get it done, right? So it also sometimes leads to you being taken advantage of. And I see it happen all the time with great people being taken advantage of, because other people will see that this great person is willing to go these extraordinary lengths, and so they're willing to take that person on the ride on purpose because they know that that person's willing to do it. So I mean, of course, there's many layers to the title of this video, right? To never compromise yourself for the sake of achievement. But I see people fall into the trap often because they believe that they need to work harder. They believe that they need to sacrifice themselves to get to that next level. That if I just, at least for the first aspect of it with like people in Hollywood or like actors or whatever, that they'll compromise their morals, their integrity, their values to try to get ahead, and then they end up crashing out because they're not proud of who they are, and they're experiencing the consequences of making those decisions. And then there's those other people, probably in the corporate world, that's willing to basically commit all of their time and occupation, like all the time to their occupation, to their job. And so then they don't have time for their family. They don't have time for their friends. They let the rest of life go by for a paycheck. They've committed all of their time and energy towards building up a company, which is someone else's dream, is the owner, the CEO's dream, often the owner's dream of, creating that company. That you spend all this time building up someone else's dream for a paycheck, right? For temporary security, when imagine you just did that, right? You deliver the services in order to get compensated, and then you spend the rest of that time building up your own dream, building up what it is that's important to you, because then you can create something great. And you know that you will create something great because you're passionate about it, because you're putting your best foot forward, and you have yourself and the universal energy working towards pushing you forward in that avenue, right? So I say all this for life advice, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, if you're a small content creator, if you're, let's just say you're doing YouTube, right? Don't compromise yourself for achievement. Don't compromise yourself for views. There's so many people that's willing to put their lives or the lives of other people in jeopardy because they want attention, right? You've heard the saying, attention is a hell of a drug. You see it happen all the time. There's people who become loose cannons because they'll do a stunt, or they'll do a prank, or they'll do something crazy to, affect other people negatively. And then that video get attention, but then their next video, they have to one up it because they have to keep pushing the boundary, right? Like, you don't want to get into that downward spiral. I would much rather approach at least YouTube with patience and authenticity, because I understand that my journey is going to be my journey, and I'll grow at the pace that I'm supposed to grow. And I understand that the people that will follow me and be with my channel, the community that I'll build, are people that are genuine, that establish that genuine connection with me, that understand me, that can relate to me. And that's what I want. I want to, the people that are meant to be in my life and in my community are going to be there. So that's why there's no rush for that. So I'd rather take my time doing that than to just chase the attention. That's why my videos are the way they are. That's why I'm not constantly making cuts and edits or constantly jumping from clip to clip, because I want the people who have an attention span that can sit and watch a video because they understand that they're going to receive value for it, and that I'm providing them with gems that can help improve their life for the better. So even with my videos, I often do my videos with one take, right? Because I do that on purpose, because that is the type of content I want to put out. I want to embrace authenticity, right? Someone that stands on morals, integrity, principles, right? And I'm showing you that with my videos. And then for the other side, right? I don't want you to compromise yourself. I don't want you to get burnt out, because you're living this life to have fun and to enjoy it. And when you're working to get that paycheck, you're working for them to earn an income so that you can live your life. That at some point you can be comfortable. At some point you can live your life and do things that you want to do. Not so you work to make an income so that you continue working for the money, that you're trading all your time for the money. Because then if you're trading all your time for the money, when are you going to have the opportunity to enjoy the fruits of your labor? If when you go on vacation, you're also working. If you're traveling, you're also working. There needs to be a separation. There needs to be a balance, right? Now, you can definitely go all in with something you're passionate about, something you enjoy. But I know most people, when they work their job, they're not doing something they particularly enjoy or something that they love to do, right? So there needs to be a separation. Moral of the story, never compromise yourself for the sake of achievement, because hard work alone isn't what's going to bring you riches. Hard work alone isn't necessarily what's going to get you to that dream life or where it is that you want to go, right? You need to understand that you want to be effective with the work that you're doing, but you also want to make sure you're having fun. You also want to make sure you have the right energy behind it. You want to make sure you're doing what it is that you enjoy, because then you'll be passionate about it. Then you'll be committed to it. And then you'll be creating something that you can be proud of, something that will provide value to the lives of people all around the world. So this video right here is just some life advice, and hopefully you walk away with something. Hopefully, if you've been, you know, in that rut or experiencing either of those two negative scenarios, that you'll hopefully this was a wake-up call for you so that you can begin doing things the right way, because I want you to win in this lifetime. I want you to do what makes you happy, because if you're doing what makes you happy, then that's when you can help make the world a better place, because you've tapped into your true power and you show up more as your true self each and every day. And you deserve it for yourself, and the world deserves it, because the rest of the world deserves to see you at your best state. So that rests of the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 100 subscribers. I'm telling you guys right now, we are going to crush it. So do leave a like, subscribe, share this video with anyone you think who would benefit from it. That wraps it up. So once again, guys, this is Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.